This is Kisumu City, the third largest city in Kenya. Kisumu City has been a sleeping giant for a long time, especially due to its abandonment by the past regimes in Kenya, as it has been perceived to be opposition stronghold. Now, one president actually stood out and did something different for Kisumu City. One, he repaired and reconstructed the multi-billion Kisumu port and made sure it is working again. This means that the port will serve the whole of East Africa through Lake Victoria. Now, the second thing and the greatest thing the president ever did for Kisumu City and the Luo people as a whole is the construction of the Kenya Shipyards Limited in Kisumu City. Now, someone may ask, how does this benefit the people of Kisumu City and the city itself? Now, let me explain this to you. Kisumu is located on the shores of Lake Victoria, which serves three countries, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Now, most goods that go to Uganda, since it's a landlocked country, actually have to be transported by a road all the way to Uganda via Malaba. But this can be made easier as most goods can be transported to Kisumu, then put on a ship, and then transported all the way to Uganda and even to Tanzania, and all the way to Rwanda, Burundi, and DR Congo. This is big business that has remained hugely untapped, and when fully tapped can result in trade of billions and billions of dollars of Kenyan shillings. We all know about the Great Lakes of the USA that borders Canada and the USA, and we all know how these two countries have traded in full potential of the lakes in billions and billions of dollars. If that can be done in Lake Victoria, whereby Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania can trade through the lake, and it's not just about trade, it can be about tourism. I've seen Tanzania, they're also constructing a cruise ship. This cruise ship can move from Kisumu to Tanzania, Tanzania to Uganda, and vice versa. This can be big business for tourism sector, especially on the lakeside. Now, this is a good thing for Kisumu City because it means Kisumu City gets more and more business, more tourism, more everything economical that will help the people get more jobs. Now, one thing I've realized about the people from Kisumu City, and not just Kisumu City, but from Western Kenya, that is from Western Nyanza and Kisii area, is that most of us, we have to move to Nairobi, Nakuru, Naivasha, Mombasa, and all these other cities to find jobs and to earn a living. And one thing I've always hated about this whole scenario is that most of us, when we migrate to these other cities, we end up living in these slum estates like Mudhurwa, Kariobangi, Kibera, and all these. If you go to all these slums, the greatest people you'll find, that the biggest tribes you'll find that in these slums is mostly the Luya and the Luo people. And why is this? It's because we don't develop our own cities and towns. This, I know it will be hard for you guys to actually move back to Kisumu or other towns in western parts of Kenya because you moved there a long time ago. It became a trend, and now we have made those towns and cities so big that we can only get jobs from those towns because that is where everything is. But we can reverse this, guys. We don't have to depend on Nairobi, Mombasa, Naivasha, Nakuru, Eldoret. And if you guys think I'm actually lying, just wait till it's Christmas and see all the traffic where it's going. Most people are actually coming back to Western Kenya in the villages and everything in Nyanza and Kisii and these areas. They stay there till January holidays. When holiday is over, we all migrate back to the cities, and then we leave all these other places undeveloped because there are no people. As a result of this, business can't grow because you can't open a shop or a mall where there are no people, because people are the consumers, and the greatest consumers in Nairobi right now are the Luo, Luya, Kisii, and the rest, people who come from these sides of Western Kenya. So the people who can help us reverse this trend in Kenya right now, and the people who can help cities like Kisumu to grow and become one of the greatest cities in Kenya right now, are the people who have made it in terms of financial stability, like especially the Luos who have made it. They need to come back and invest in things like real estate. And right now, actually, real estate in Kisumu City is booming because, as you can see, Kisumu City is one of the cleanest, very beautiful, and it's actually safe. Unlike how people perceive Kisumu, it's one of the best places to be. Every time I visit, I don't always want to leave. There's a lot of tourism potential not tapped in Kisumu City. You can come and build hotels, you can come and build real estate, build hardware, shops, and stuff like that. So people can help reverse the trend of Luos, Luyas, and Kisis migrating to Nairobi and other cities, making other cities great while our cities are dying, is people who have actually attained financial stability. So if you are a Luo, lawyer, or a Kisi guy and you are financially stable and you can open something back in Kisumu City, Kisi Town, Kakamega, that actually people can find employment and find a way to gain livelihood back home, please come back and start it. You can invest in real estate in cities like Kisumu. You can invest in real estate. It's like I said, it's booming right now. Go to Riyadh Hills, build mansions and sell them. That is a booming business right now. These are the things we can do to actually help our cities grow. It always saddens me to go to these estates like I said, Kariobangi, Kibera, Mudhurwa, and the rest, Kayole, and out of 5 people, 3 people either Luo or Luya, and we will remain to be this stupid until one day when we'll get our brains and decide to come back and build our own cities where we are our own bosses. If you guys don't read anything in what I'm saying, you'll continue to be watchmen, border guys, cleaners, mechanics. I don't know all those sort of things Luo people and Luya people do in these cities like Nairobi, you know. And if someone out there actually reads sense to what I'm saying, please comment below. Luo people, we need to start coming back and investing in our city. Like Kisumu City is one good place you can start with this. Just come back, start open, and you. There are some other safe things you can invest. Even you don't have to be a Luo to invest in Kisumu City. There are other safe things you can invest in. If in case you are thinking maybe tribalism and all those stuff that happens after every elections will affect your business, there are safe things you invest. I've never seen any Luo people burning apartments or stuff like that. So invest in an apartment, rent it out. And like I said, it's a booming business. Invest in an hotel, rent it I mean, invest in an hotel and hire people, locals and stuff like that. So that industry where Uhuru started, where we can build ships and repair ships, and the port business is a great thing for Kisumu City, and it will mean Kisumu will grow very fast. Anyone who sees potential needs to come back and invest in Kisumu City. And this is my message today. Actually, I just wanted to show you around Kisumu City so that you guys will not say I'm talking nonsense. I just wanted to ride along Kisumu City so you can see how big it is, how beautiful. This is on a Sunday. That's why there's no traffic and there are no people. I always film my videos on a Sunday because it's peaceful, there's no traffic, and like I said, there's no people. So Kisumu is very big, it's very beautiful, it's growing very fast. If you are Luo out there or a Luya and want a big city to invest in, you don't need to go to Nakuru, Nairobi, Eldoret, and we become slaves in these towns. Today I've gained a lot of courage to say this as a guy who is a Luo. Please come back and invest in these cities. You know, you can build even shops and offices and stuff like that. Start a taxi business, start a business of manufacturing small things like household equipment and stuff like that. You know, these are things that can really work right now in Kisumu City. I always had to see all that migration like wild beasts going back to the village and Kisumu and the rest during Christmas holidays. Then we all go back to Nairobi. Then we leave our cities dying because there are no people and stuff like that. You know, I've said this and I don't know if I will talk about this again. Today I've gained the courage to talk about it. If we want Kisumu to be the greatest city of all time in Kenya, we just have to come back home. And this starts with those who are financially stable. Just build something and employ people. As much as people find employment in Kisumu, they won't have a reason to travel to Nairobi, Nakuru. When we live and go to these cities, we really become slaves because it's not our home. you know that's why every time there's political instability or violence or anything, we see you guys coming, picking your things and coming back in the villages, in these places, even in Kisumu. you know so if you invest your life here and you invest your livelihoods in these places, you know you can employ back Kenyans who are in those other towns and they can move back. It can happen. It has happened before. It can happen. During 2007, actually, that is the period Kisumu grew the fastest, because after that period, most Luo people actually their eyes were opened and they realized home is where they left, and they came back and Kisumu City grew very fast, you know. And this is the type of investments I'm talking about. So if you think I'm still speaking sense, you're free to comment below. Let me know. today I just decided to make this video specifically for the Luo, Luya and Kisi and all these people who migrate to big cities to find livelihoods. Then they leave their towns to suffer and to die a slow death because there are no people there. I mean, if I go to a city right now, maybe like Nairobi or let's say Nakuru and Eldoret, just go to any of these low-income estates, you will find so many Luo and Luya people, and it saddens me all the time, you know. And while Kisumu is this growing this big, we can all come and invest, live in Kisumu. Kisumu is closer to home, to the village. From Kisumu to Kakamega, I don't know, it's 40-something kilometers. You just and in between there's no one who is going to ask you something. Now let's say right now Kenya becomes very unstable politically as a result of tribalism that has refused to end in Kenya, and you're in Nairobi. How will you move all the way to Kisumu and to your village? And I thought post-election violence was going to open people's eyes in this country, especially Luo and Luya people, but it has never opened their eyes. They have still chosen to be slaves in these big cities like Nairobi and Nakuru and Eldoret and the rest, and even Mombasa. Mombasa is the only great city you can live because that town has no tribalism. All the rest, you really have to come back home. Invest home. I'll never talk about this again. I've talked about it the last time. Right now, Kisumu is great and it needs to be even greater. We need to have at least one city that we can call ours, you know. Thank you guys for watching this far. Continue enjoying the views of Kisumu City. Just look at this city. It's so beautiful and so big and so clean and organized, you know. Just beautiful. But it can even be greater than this. So whoever has ears, if you are Kenyan in diaspora, instead of coming back and investing in those apartments and don't know Kilimani and where, we have so many rich Kenyans in Luo Kenyans in Kenya and in diaspora, but they never want to invest home. They never want. They just want Luos to be slaves in these other cities. So invest in Kisumu City if you are Luya, Luo, Kisi and stuff like that. If you have money and you are financially stable, invest. Bring your relatives who are in Nairobi and everywhere. Let them live in Kisumu and work in Kisumu. Remember, even if the government wants to allocate resources in counties, the first criteria they look at is population. When they are doing census of these counties, they always find out that counties like Nairobi, Kiambu, Nakuru have the biggest population. And why do you think? It's because all Luos and Luyas and Kisis have migrated to these counties and cities and towns of Nakuru, Naivasha, Nairobi. So when government allocate resources, it will allocate resources in Nairobi County because it has the highest population. Now Kisumu, which is our home, will get the least number of resources because we have no population. Population is always power and it helps in a lot of things. So if you want resources to come to Kisumu, if you want Kisumu to be the best city in Kenya, if you want this city to grow, if you want our cities, not just this, Kisii Town, Kakamega, Kitale, Bungoma, Homa Bay, Migori. Actually, Migori is growing very fast. It's growing very fast. It's one of the best and the fastest growing towns in Kenya. I'm yet to do a video, but I'll do a video soon. You know, we can come back and invest in these towns and cities that are close to home. We don't have to be like wild beast migration where we come back during Christmas, then we go and suffer the whole year in those towns doing nothing but border, mechanic, hawkers and stuff like that. It's time we change the trend. And if no one was going to talk about this, I've decided to become the first one to talk about it. And whoever has ears, let him listen. Thank you. And please remember to subscribe.